Hi, welcome back to another TerranScapes video. Today I'd like to show you recently completed Waterfall and mention some of the things that I've been working on with them. I realized actually looking back over the YouTube account that I haven't posted a Waterfall in over a year or so, and I've been making some very minor gradual adjustments to them over time. And so I thought it might be nice to revisit them, show you some of the things that I'm working towards, and also give a chance for some of the new subscribers who maybe haven't gone back to look through the archive of videos to take a look at what the current work looks like for Waterfalls. I'm not going to be showing any photos of this on the website because it's sort of already up there, but I'm going to link this as a more recent view of it for those of you who might visit the website to see what other kinds of pictures are available there. So let me take you in a closer look and show you actually a photo of a waterfall that I've been using as an inspirational guide to try to guide my work. Normally I'd shoot an actual photo of this or find something on the web and insert it into the video, but I thought just to try to be a little quicker today, I'd actually just shoot it right as part of the video. This is a picture that came out of, I think, a Patagonia magazine, and they often have a lot of outdoor adventure type shots, you know, brave kayaker, you know, rapids, etc. But what I wanted to do here was, you know, show you some of the key features of a waterfall that I feel like I need to work on. I haven't really been able to capture, and I've made some tiny progress on this one, but I've got some better ideas for the upcoming waterfalls. So when you notice, water, when it breaks over an edge, and I've seen this before, but this just captured it so well. When it breaks over the edge of the water, of the waterfall, of the edge of the substrate, it actually comes off more as a sheet, and then as it falls, it breaks up and cascades as, you know, wispy clouds of water droplets. You can see that. Give me a little close-up here of that actual. So you can see here as it starts to dip over the edge, it's really starting to sheet off in a very smooth way, actually, before it fractures during the descent on the way down. So I wanted to try to emulate that in the current waterfall piece, and I realized after I started to put on the water effects that I actually need to consider this aspect of it pre-application of the water build, as the actual layout of the ground and how the water is going to fall against the side of the cliff really determines the ability to make that effect happen. So taking a look at the waterfall, you can see that first, for those of you who maybe haven't seen them before, it's designed to go against the edge of a table. It's a two-tier. Each of the tiers is, I think, about 3.5 to 4 inches high, something like that, maybe 3 inches high, and cascades down and then falls to the bottom. And in this instance, the customer really wanted me to actually have an insert cap that could be placed here so that the waterfall could be placed on the table by itself. I really didn't want to do that primarily for two reasons. One is it's just going to look terribly artificial to have the water terminate without some sort of catch basin for it. And two, I didn't feel that I could create a join or a, you know, an insert piece that would really seamlessly meld with this and create a nice enough effect, especially because he wanted it to be able to connect to other water features that he was purchasing along with it. So what I did is, and I'll show you my end cap, I discussed it with the customer, and we came to the agreement that adding an end cap to it makes it a two-piece placement on the table. It's not going to jut out terribly far into the table and allows for this to remain open without having to put an insert in it. But before I get to the end cap, just to show you a couple things about the waterfall itself. From a distance, you can notice maybe some new features. I use cottony wisps to create the mist and the froth at the bottom of the waterfall, but I've also been exploring adding them along the actual falls itself to create the essence of water spray as it's breaking up. It's very hard with the water effects gels to create that very light, frothy look that is, you know, so indicative of water falling at great height. So what I've done is I've added in a few little spots here and there, glued them in, streaked them up, and tried to capture the essence of particles of water that are breaking up as they're falling and sort of cascading down. I realized as I was doing this for this particular piece that you really have to go kind of small and light on them. So I've gone back in and picked out a bunch of pieces and tried to make them look a little bit fainter, as it's really trying to capture the motion effect rather than actually the particles themselves. So very, very light amount of cotton fibers in each spot produces a very substantive effect. So here's a little bit of a closer look at the waterfall. One of the things that I've been trying to do is actually build up the actual base behind the wisps to give that a more convincing feel, as really water tends to bead up, not bead up, but bulge at the base of a waterfall. Then I've gone in with some water effects and streaked them out a little bit to give it the essence that some of the foam is traveling down the stream. And I think on the next iteration, although I always say next time here's what I'd like to do. I think this is one of the best waterfalls I've done to date, so I don't want you in any way to get the impression that I'm not happy with this. I think it's come out really fantastic and I've learned a lot, but I'm always looking for what's the next thing that I'd like to do. And I think in the next time I might like to carry out that bulge just a little bit further along the edge, just to kind of show the water is settling down as it travels away. I've done that to a lesser degree on some previous pieces, but it just wasn't a focus for me here, as I was really trying to capture the lip effect and that sort of sheeting as it comes off the edge. As you can see, I didn't necessarily capture that sheeting effect particularly well. One of the things that I noticed is that in order to sheet it off, I need a gap between the substrate. I actually build a sort of insert for the waterfall and then water effect over it. I need to have that insert receded down a little bit and come out a little bit to give me a bigger surface so that I can actually cascade the gels over and down. One of the things that I've had as a problem in my previous waterfalls, problem being area of improvement, is that the curve at the lip is not particularly rounded enough to reflect that forward motion, right? We have to remember that water is traveling forward and then coming off. So it's going to carry some momentum and travel forward. So that's going to be the next area that I'm going to try to improve for the next waterfall. Again, you can see, the froth continuing, and as I needed to hide actually a little seam under here, what I did is roughen up this surface a little bit and paint it. This is actually the way I've been doing waterfalls to date, so I have to think about, like I said beforehand, a lot of pre-planning to change that effect much more so than I was able to do on this one. Another thing that, well actually, before I go on here, I do feel like I started to get a little bit more of the essence of the water sort of coming towards the middle here. It's subtle, and if you don't see it the way I see it, I completely understand, but I do feel like I made some movement in this area to try to do that, so I feel very good about the next waterfall attempt, and I have one planned in the not near future, so I'm going to really get a chance to implement some of these new ideas, but hopefully before I forget them. So here I just wanted to give you a look at the union. I built up these edges just a little bit to meet the sort of berm that is featured on all of my water pieces. And this piece that's connected to it right now, let me see if I can pan back just a little bit. I'm going to move some lights here. Bear with me. There we go. This piece right here represents a new pond end cap. I still have some of the old ones in stock, but the mold had really just sort of fatigued from resin pouring, which can happen with silicone rubber after a time. So I wanted to make a new one, and I thought this would be an excellent chance to showcase it with the waterfall. Again, as I mentioned before, the customer wanted it to have a short footprint in addition to the ability of placing, say, water features, that river sections that stream away from it, and then you could have the waterfall as the headwaters to the entire river system on the table. But this pond end cap is a little bit larger than the previous one that I've done. It is, you know what, I've got a tape measure here. I'm glad you're all so patient with me. Let's see here. So it's about 8 inches across. It is a little over 10 inches long, and I wanted something with a little bit more of an organic shape than the previous one that I've done. I really like the way this has come out. If you haven't seen my river pieces before, they're all cast in a durable resin plastic, and I've been using some new formulations that are less prone to warping than some of my very early pieces, a couple of years ago. So I feel really good about how these have come out. And I think the two of these combined on the tabletop make an excellent sort of end cap to the waterfall, as when I've done waterfalls in the past by themselves, you know, and you've had that, there's a sort of a pool that's capturing the waterfall off. Its size just didn't feel right to scale, but it's all I could fit on the base without enlarging it significantly. This creates, I think, a much more realistic termination point to the waterfall if you didn't want to add additional river sections. So overall, I think I really like the two, and I'm pretty pleased with the new end cap. So I hope you enjoyed taking a look at the waterfall today with me. Keep your eyes on the channel, as I have another waterfall project, as I mentioned, coming up really soon. It's actually going to be part of the end caps. If you've been following that project, I have one more piece to work on, and after this next section is done, which I'll be showing you in the near future, then the next phase of those end caps will feature an integrated waterfall into it. And I feel like I've learned a lot from this waterfall. I've been really thinking about them more and how I can add a little bit more realism to them. And I just want to, you know, mention that, you know, oftentimes I watch a lot of reviewers, terrain artists on YouTube, and, you know, I think sometimes compared to them, I don't pump up my work maybe as much as they do, and it's not that I'm dissatisfied with my work. I don't want you to think that. Actually, I'm very proud of this waterfall. I think it's one of the best ones I've done, but I'm always looking at how I can get better, and so I like to share those ideas with you. So I hope you enjoy hearing my musings, because maybe they can show you some key areas that you could work on should you want to undertake some of these projects yourself. So thanks once again for joining me for another video. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the feedback section, and you know I'll be back soon with another video.